I just read an article from BBC. Outrage in Somalia after man says he's married missing 8-year-old. I hope I'm not too late to cover this, but I had to absolutely cover this because I can't see it in anywhere else, right? Look at this. Child marriage, right? This is a forced child marriage. Outrage has spread in Somalia after an 8-year-old who has been missing for 6 months was found living with a man who said he was her husband. 8-year-old. The girl was reported missing by her family in the semi-autonomous region of Puntland last September, right? Months later, it emerged the girl's father had consented for her to be married to an adult named Sheikh Mohammed. Her own father consented, right? And when asked by the BBC how he could justify marrying an 8-year-old, he said that the traditions of Islam's prophet, peace be upon him, along with the fact that Shafi'i, one of the four Islamic Sunni school of thoughts, allows child marriage. Now, here's the thing. This completely goes against Shafi'i school of thoughts, right? Because yes, obviously, a guardian, which is her father in this case, can arrange a marriage contract for the minor, but marital life requires her consent after puberty. And this is for all four schools: Hanafi, Shafi'i, Maliki, Hanbali. Even modern scholars agree upon this. Right? This is not allowed. Forced cohabitation and consummation of the marriage is not allowed. She can reject the marriage if she's reached maturity and puberty. So you can't live with an 8-year-old just because her father gave consent. Completely against Islam, and the father should be held accountable. And the man that married this 8-year-old and lived with her without her consent after puberty and maturity should also be held accountable. Now, not only that, we also have Islamic verses against all of this. Surah Al-Nisa. O you who have believed, it is not lawful for you to inherit woman by compulsion, which means forbids forcing women into marriage. Establish that consent is essential, making any coerced marriage invalid. Some Sunnah hadith as well. A previously married woman has more rights to her person than her guardian, and a virgin's consent must be sought, which means guardians cannot override a woman's choice. Forcing a minor is invalid. A virgin should not be married off without her consent, and her refusal must be respected, which means confirms refusal, invalidates marriage, protects autonomy, right? Even more, the guardian may propose on behalf of a girl, but if she refuses, her consent overrides his authority. And the last one, there is no marriage for a virgin except with her permission, right? So all of these points that they brought up, saying that the Prophet's teachings and that one of the school of thoughts allows this, is completely buffoonery. It's reprehensible to say the least. Now, Somalia had no legal minimum age for marriages, so many children were, married once they reached puberty. So in 2025, the parliament voted to ratify the African Charter, right, which is set at 18 as the minimum age. But here's the thing. And before I say this part, which is that the government said it won't enforce these parts because it conflicts with Islamic laws, there is this one man, I saw a video on TikTok, he's a Somali man. When he got the news that they would change the age to 18 as minimum, you have to see his reaction. Because I hope genuinely that this is AI. Watch this clip.
shalay Soomaaliya waxay u ahayd maalin mugdiya, maalin madow ah. Shalay baarlamaankii wuxuu u soo saaray ama uu go'aan ku gaaray wax la aqbali kara ma aha. Annaga Muslim baan nahay, boqolkiiba boqol Muslim baan nahay.
So this uncle from Somalia just proclaimed that this was a dark day, that they set the age as 18 as minimum for marriage. How is this the biggest concern you have? 2025, remember, this is the biggest concern you have, and it doesn't even stop there. Let's keep watching.
Arrimo la aqbali karo ma aha. 18 sano gaalay u qoran tahay caruurtooda ku qaangaaraan, annaga inaan ku raacno ma aha. Nabiga sallallahu alayhi wasallam khaalif al-mushrikiin buu na faray inaan mushrikiinta khilaafnana la faray. Ilaahay aan ka cabsano, war Ilaahay aan ka cabsano.
So you can clearly see that this is concerning him a lot. He even brings up the Prophet, peace be upon him, and says that he used to fight the disbelievers. What does this have to do with disbelievers? Just because they have the same age of consent in different countries, does that mean that this is the biggest concern? That this is where you should put your energy into? If you really want to be someone that follows what the Prophet, peace be upon him, did, you really think if the Prophet understood what's happening today, that he would be more concerned over this, or the fact that we have countries right now going through suffering and pain and war and famine because of disbelievers? Palestine, Israeli occupation, Afghanistan, foreign invasion, Syria, war, Iraq, invasions, Yemen, bombings, Libya, NATO intervention, Kashmir, Rohingya, Western Sahara, Sudan. We have so many countries suffering. The Ummah is literally bleeding. Yet somehow this is what you want to cry over? You have a phone, you can reach the whole globe, and this is your biggest concern? Listen, nothing against Somali people, right? This is a problem happening all across the globe with forced child marriages, right? This is not only Somalia. But we have to speak about the consequences. How this makes the little girl, how it changed their whole life, how it affects them. Loss of childhood. Girls have to leave school and childhood behind, taking on adult roles with little freedom, health risks, early pregnancies, sexual abuse, trauma, violence and exploitation, economic dependence. Education ends. You have a limited career, entrapping families into poverty cycles, social and cultural pressures. And it's a global thing, as I just mentioned. 12 million girls marry before 18 yearly. Legal and religious gaps, right? Weak enforcement, loopholes, and misinterpreted religions allow child marriages to persist. This is real, right? And not only is that the cause on the girls that go through it, the men will face the consequences in this life and in the hereafter for this, and trying to use Islam to justify their wicked minds, right? Marriage, for first of all, is completely invalid in this case, right? Where you marry someone who did not consent. You see all of these videos that I have in front of me? Do any of these little girls look as if they have consented for this? Just because you have the guardian's approval, that does not mean it's halal. Every one of the four Sunni school of thoughts agree upon this, right? So the marriage is invalid. It's a major sin to force a woman. That's oppression. Divine accountability also, right? In the hereafter, you will be held accountable. You'll be held responsible by Allah, and you may even face punishment in the hereafter. Only Allah knows. Spiritual harm, no blessing, the barakah in this life, children, wealth, or benefits from forced marriages like spiritual blessings. And this is not me just spewing things. I myself know exactly what I'm talking about. Why? Because my parents, that was a forced marriage. My mom did not consent, right? And it's led to so much problems from them and even to them, right? A completely failed marriage. The whole family dynamics just breaks when the both of them cannot agree upon one thing, which is the foundation, the marriage. If you can force a lady to marry you, it won't even lead to anything good other than destruction. Trust me. So please, do right? And don't use Islam to justify your fantasies and desires, okay? Please. That's probably all for me. I hope I said nothing wrong, specifically if it's Islamic related. And inshallah, please, if this video even reaches one person in these countries that I mentioned that has these big problems, please think before you ruin a girl's life, right? Trust me. Go for a lady that genuinely likes you. That is much better than forcing someone to marry you. Trust me. And that's all for me. If you guys like this, you can comment, subscribe, whatever you decide. Assalamu.